It sounds very dramatic, and I suppose in many ways it was.
To know that you're launching into the slight unknown, we know that there's Russian aircraft coming, but we don't know how many and what their intentions are.
We've got aircraft closing at, hundreds of miles an hour.
To actually be there in the mix of it, in the Eastern Mediterranean.
It's international airspace, international sea. Nobody owns it. We're simply not going to be bullied around.
The Carrier Strike Group, tasked with showcasing Britain's power on its journey around the world. Potential enemies warned, potential allies hopefully impressed. But it was also time to see just what the new F-35s could do, how the aircraft carrier actually performed, and whether the Carrier Strike Group was up to the job.
So at the moment we're about 45 miles off the coast of Oman. We're just supporting an Omani exercise at the moment.
Down in the ops room, a series of launches is underway.
And they're literally about to launch kind of above us, right?
We're about to launch the fourth jet, so yeah, we're putting them up now as we speak.
This is the nerve centre of the Carrier Strike Group. Here they communicate with all elements that make up the full formation, in the air, on the sea and beneath the waves. Their first real test of hostility came earlier in the trip as they sailed through the Eastern Mediterranean waters that Russia takes a close interest in.
The first time it happened, real buzz in the ops room. There's a lot of people in here, all closed up, all focused, and essentially it's just doing what we've been training to do, but for real instead of for exercise.
Very direct, not necessarily aggressive. We knew what the intent was. It was pretty obvious when you see it coming towards you and they don't move.
We don't want aircraft flying through the overhead here unescorted without us knowing. I mean, you wouldn't want that happening through Heathrow. So you have a whole series of responses and warnings, and if those aircraft do not comply or inform us about what they're up to, then we're obliged to launch aircraft to intercept them.
We're asking what their intentions are. We never had a response from that. We weren't really expecting a response, but that's what we put out. But then once we end up alongside, there may be some hand signals, but friendly hand signals just to say hello. Otherwise, we maintain a respectful distance. They know that we're there, we know that they're there, and we just escort them through over the top of the carrier.
The 2-week journey through the Eastern Mediterranean saw Russian aircraft being intercepted almost every day. Pilots were literally sitting strapped in on the runway ready to launch, a great opportunity to put the F-35s to the test. There's 18 on board, 10 US, 8 British, and of course a healthy amount of rivalry.
Who's best?
I am.
And who's the top gun on this ship, apart from you?
It's me.
Apart from you.
We're just better at all of it, obviously. The great thing about this deployment worldwide is being able to see how the aircraft has performed around the world.
We've operated with Italian F-35s, Israeli F-35s, US Air Force F-35s, US Navy F-35s, and then all of the legacy platforms that many nations have. And the fact that we can just come into an area and seamlessly integrate, I think, has been really impressive.
It does what we hoped it would do. We've still got a long way to go in learning how to operate it to its max performance, but we definitely have bought the best piece of equipment in the world for what it does. It's great. Night absolutely brings another dimension to it. You're looking down the tram line and you can barely see ahead of you, and you launch off into the pitch black. There's been a number of times when you fly off on a moonless night and you thank goodness that you've got all the equipment that we've got on the F-35 to help us. Think back to the guys in the Second World War flying Swordfish and those aircraft that had none of the technology that we have today.
Eventually, the Carrier Strike Group reached the South China Sea, although here they saw less activity than expected.
We were all a bit let down, actually. We were a bit frustrated. We were so hyped up from the Eastern Med operations and so pleased with the performance of everybody. We just wanted to replicate that in another area of the world, literally the other side of the world. It was good. We knew we could do it. We were ready, poised ready, but there wasn't the requirement.
My direction to the team was, let's just show them, how good we really are. Flying for 24 hours a day with a carrier, it's arguably unheard of. So that just maintaining it as opposed to having peaks and troughs it was a real statement. So the tempo was high, and we were doing lots of other activity at the same time. So frigates and destroyers coming and going around the screen around us. We're replenishing underway at the same time as flying. So really complex naval maritime activity, and that's what we did as we progressed through the South China Sea. There's no doubt they were watching us. It was safe and it was professional and at appropriate ranges, but you know, we'll have left a lasting impression about where UK carrier strikes come in a very short time.
We've proven our ability to operate a brand new ship with a brand new type of aircraft and integrate with, you know, 100 different warships of what will be 40 different nations by the time we get home. I think as far as a powerful capability for the nation moving forward at a high readiness from now on, I think from a ship perspective, we're delivering in spades.
Scared is probably the wrong word, but I think they're absolutely alive to what this capability is about, whether it was in the Eastern Mediterranean or South China Sea and the Philippine Sea. If you're a nation that may, you know, want to cause mischief, harm or disrupt, I think you've definitely sat up and watched what Queen Elizabeth's been all about.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.